Hi, my name is Henry, and I have an idea that I believe will not only revolutionize the automobile industry, but America as well. The linchpin of my idea is to mass produce my automobile on assembly lines. I have visions of someday social scientists naming what I intend to do Fordism, and they'll be teaching lectures about it, most likely at liberal universities that say that it was contributed to inequality. But I digress. I have this vision to build an automobile manufacturing business, and I need your help. I need money to do this. If you give me $10, I will put your name somewhere in the owner's manual that comes with my car. For as much money as you give me, you will have a greater stake in my product. But you won't own my product, mind you. You're just going to give me money to make it, and you have the satisfaction of saying that you did. But in the end of the day, it will be my product. I'll own all the patents and copyrights. Doesn't that sound silly? Doesn't that sound like absolutely ridiculous? But this is my main complaint about like where we're at in America, where we're at in the music business and all of this stuff. And I spoke last week about my ideas on why the music business doesn't matter that much anymore. And I had the idea that many agreed with about Ahmet Ertegun seeking out the talent. A lot of people agreed with that. But then I started to go off into musicians play for free, and that may have the effect of diminishing the value of what musicians do. Now, as I said, it's even much more complicated than that. There's lots of reasons why. And I also want to add, no disrespect to any of my friends who play for free and passed around hats, because I've often come to see friends that do that and thrown $20 into a hat after driving from New Jersey to do it. I play for free myself with certain people. I paid for my own CD and DVD, but I give them away too. But the difference is that my main gripe is that this technology, the making CDs and digital technology, this was supposed to be the great equalizer. This was supposed to enable everybody previously barred from entering the business to enter the business. And now people don't want to invest anything. So look, I'm no great fan of record companies. My whole life was spent pitching bands' products to record companies and getting rejected. And those that know me know that at one time I was friends with a A&R man named Jason Flom at Atlantic Records, who came to see my band and set up showcases and ultimately passed on us. But he ultimately took an interest in me and tried to connect me with some different things, which he was unsuccessful with. But once that friendship sort of waned, I was very excited by the new technology, the ability to record digitally, produce the products myself, and sell them myself. But you have to take that step to actually want. It's either you're going to do it or you're not. You won't be denied. So let's look at my perfect scenario of how my story took shape. I got married in 2000, and my ex-wife was not a musician. She was an attorney. She didn't really know much about music at all, but was always telling her how great of a bass player I was and all of that. And she just turned to me and she said, "Well, where's your music?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And I started associating myself with all the different things that I did. Oh, I played with this guy, I played with that guy. And she wasn't really impressed by that. She said, but where's your music? Where's the CD with your face on it? Where's your product? And I said, I don't have it. And she said, why? And I really couldn't give her a good answer. I'm in the business all these years, but I did the typical thing that most musicians do, and they like to link their worth with the worth of a higher musician that they've played with. And we all know that. People have said, oh, you know Tony Senatore? Oh, he played with Joe Loeb and the Lobsters. Oh, so that already it's more desirable to work with someone that's in the higher echelons of the business than going on your own. Anyway, I talked to lots of musician friends in New York City, and there was a guy at the time, not from New York City. He had made what's called a profile disc. He spent all this money on a CD-ROM that had his biography and all the different styles of bass playing that he did. It was sort of like a virtual demo. And the idea was to distribute it, send it around, and to get work. So I asked all my musician friends about this, and they all thought it was the most wonderful idea in the world. Oh, you have to do that. You definitely have to do that. I was all set to do it. I had some money. My ex wrote me a check for $500. She said, here, get started on this CD. You got to do it. I was going to do it, but as fate happens, the internet aligned me with a guy named Dan Glenn, a guitar player, author, bass player, Vietnam veteran, and we had some conversation over the internet, and I noticed that he was putting out his own bass CDs, and I told him that this is what I wasn't going to make my own CD. I was going to make this profile disc. And out of everybody that I spoke with, Dan was the only guy that said, that's ridiculous. He said, why would you do something like that? You need to put I'll paraphrase what he said, but he basically said, you need to put your art out there and come what may. In other words, just do what you do, and that's the achievement. Don't try to show everybody that you could play a samba and you could play a bossa nova and you could solo over changes and you could slap. That's not an artist, he said. You have to be an artist, and only then will you have a career. People will see what you did and they'll want to be associated with you. So, I'm not kidding. Sent me a whole bunch of his CDs. Still have them, Dan, see? Symphony number 2, Little Toy Horns. I'm an old media guy. Octavia. Dan Glenn. So, I went into the studio, and I worked regular jobs as well as music jobs to finance this. I would not be denied my vision and my chance to make it. So in 2003, I had the idea to record my Holy Land CD when I was a handsome young man. Now, the first man that I got into this picture of this was my friend Frank Fagnano, who sat with me for 2 years while I was doing this record. With the greatest attention to detail that anyone could ever have. And without him, I would not have produced the final product. So let's look at this picture now. I financed this product. I don't know how much I spent, but I spent a lot of money. I hired all my dear friends on this CD, and in negotiating with them, I never chewed anybody down. I never said, well, how much whatever anyone wanted. Some people wanted hourly rates. Some people wanted to be paid by the day, some by the song. Whatever it was, we went through it. Record was done. We recorded at Showplay Studios. The late Ben Elliott, my good friend, rest in peace, just passed. Once it was done, Frank, with the ability to master the product himself, knows that that's not the way it's done. He sent it off to my other good friend Andy Vendette, because another set of ears had to go on to this project. We went to Phil King, the man who was adding some some good comments on this. And we use his graphic design and his photography for this. Then I went to disc makers way down South Jersey. They packaged it, they printed it, and the rest is history. I sold it worldwide. It didn't necessarily make a lot of money, but it led to the idea of the second Tony Senatore phase. This is my DVD in 2007, playing the 12-string bass. I say it's the one and only DVD ever made on 12-string bass. People say, oh, someone else did something. Well, I don't really. This was the first one that was mass-produced and sold, and I made it, like it or not. So this was 2007. And when I did these two projects, most people do make their products with the idea of, well, now where is this going to take me? I'm going to get a call from Eddie Van Halen, and he's going to hire me to play. But my mindset wasn't like that. I had already decided that I was really getting a little tired of the music business, and I wanted to go to school, and I wanted to get a degree in something other than music, which I did, and it took 8 years. But my point is this. It wasn't about making money. It was about leaving something behind that if anyone wants to say I made it or I didn't make it, I could play or I can't play, here it is. This is what I did, like it or not. Revolutionary or not, I don't know, but I did it. Okay? I supported a whole system. All of this place. Now, people record at home, they master it, they produce it, do everything themselves. Now, one could argue that capitalism is so efficient, it's enabled almost, it almost came to the demise of the old system. I don't want to go into all this, we'll be talking forever. But think about what I just said. It's like systems change, and, musicians now, in an effort to do as much as they can, they wear a lot of hats, they do everything. And I feel that contributes to something that's substandard. That's why every single thing that I did was done with top professionals. I helped top professionals pay their bills, pay their mortgages, feed their kids, studios stay in business. And that's America. That's the way it goes. Now, a good friend of mine, T.H. Savant, wrote this book. He came to me over the summer, and he said, E-Barn Chronicles, Book 1. And he said, I have a dream of making an audio book and as well as a print book. We spoke about it, and everybody was telling him, oh, Vinny, you got to make it yourself. You get a laptop. And he was like, I'm not doing that. I need help. Have any advice? My advice, I'll sit with you in the beginning of it. I'll get you rolling. And that's what I did. I picked up the phone, called my friend Andrea Valentini. I knew he was in good hands with Andrea, and he was. And ultimately, my friend T.H. Savant produced this book, E-Barn Chronicles, Book 1. He wasn't going to put his fate in the hands of the public. He wasn't going to go to a bookseller and say, well, I like what you said in this chapter, but this chapter you're going to change it. No, that's not why you do things on your own. That's the beauty of having the technology to do the products on your own without any interference or record company to tell you, well, where are we going to sell this? When I made my CD, I didn't care who bought it, where it was categorized. The only thing that I cared about was it true to me, who I was as a musician, and did it pay tribute to the musicians and the music that inspired me? That's what I truly believe that I did achieve on my products. And I'm imagining that Dan Glenn did the same thing with his. And my friend Vincent, a.k.a. T.H. Savant, the same thing here. Look, I just believe that I don't like the idea of musicians that leave their fate in the hands of others. Nothing wrong with any. You need to maximize the new technologies of today to be able to survive and make a living. However you want to do it. Play for free. Give your stuff away. Don't listen to me. But the proof of the pudding at the end of the day, will you be able to survive in this new modern era where of the digital technology, who, in my opinion, if you think the overlords of the old days of the analog world were bad, I think the digital people are far worse in their restrictions. And again, we could talk about that forever. But I got some heat for my Friedman shirt. But Milton Friedman is my ultimate go-to guy in everything that I believe in this country. And I'll close with one of his greatest paragraphs, which is, the system under which people can make their own choices and bear most of the consequences of their decisions is the system that has prevailed for most of our history. It is the system that gave the Henry Fords, the Thomas Alva Edisons, the George Eastmans, the John D. Rockefellers, and the James Cash Pennies the incentive to transform our society over the past 2 centuries. It is the system that gave other people an incentive to furnish venture capital to finance the risky enterprises that these ambitious inventors and captains of industry undertook. Of course, there were many losers along the way, probably more losers than winners. We don't remember their names, but for the most part, they went in with their eyes open. They knew they were taking chances, and win or lose, society as a whole benefited from their willingness to take a chance. Take care.